Navy Federal is paying out $1.7 million in a new class action settlement, and some of that cash might have your name on it. And then, without admitting any wrongdoing, Navy Federal agreed to settle the lawsuit. In this video, we're going to break down who qualifies for money from this settlement, also how to file a claim, and most importantly, what new changes are coming to Navy Federal because of all of this. Let's get right into it. All right, so as you can see right here, it says Navy Federal to settle class action lawsuit for $1.7 million off of an EFTA dispute. The credit union also agrees to change its policies and procedures for handling members' claims of unauthorized transactions. As you guys can see, this came out on July 31st, and the article was first written on July 30th at 5 p.m. So the lawsuit was filed October 23rd by Jeffrey Stevenson and his son Billy. Okay, they claimed that Navy Federal wrongfully denied a fraud claim after Smith's debit card was stolen from his school backpack. Stevenson submitted a fraud claim supported by documentation. Right after that, the following day, Navy Federal denied the claim. They stated that they found the claim to be unsupported, even though he supported documentation. Now, most of the time that something happens like that, most people just give up and just say, okay, you know what, forget about it, I'm just going to move on. But not them. Watch this. Stevenson said that he submitted 3 additional requests asking the credit union to explain the denial or at least review the evidence. So Navy Federal Credit Union mechanically rejected each of the plaintiff's claims with a form of denial letters, and they essentially said that there were no factual findings or documentation from its alleged investigation. And then, without admitting any wrongdoing, Navy Federal agreed to settle the lawsuit given the risk, uncertainties, and burdens of continuing the litigation. Stevenson and Smith will each receive $5,000 for actual damages, along with an additional $5,000 service award for service as now class action representatives, the agreement said. And of course, the attorneys got paid too. They got paid over $561,000, right? But here's the thing. Now there's $1.1 million left, but this will be distributed on a pro rata basis. Okay, so now let's break all of this down. As you can see right here, of course, we just answered the question, how much is Navy Federal paying out? It's going to be about $1.1 million. It's going to be left effective for members who file a claim. Okay. And don't worry, I'm going to show you all how the claim process is going to work. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Number 4 is who qualifies for money from this settlement. Okay. So the answer is anyone who's a current or former Navy Federal member and has had a fraud claim denied may be eligible. Here's the thing, but you must submit a valid claim form on time. Now, here's the deal. Details of the claim form will be shared once the court gives final approval. So it's still in the early stages, okay? Because I know some of you guys are saying, well, hey, listen, how do I file a claim, okay? Now, here's the deal. Right now, there's no claim form. It hasn't been released yet. Once it is, there will more than likely be a dedicated website. Now, what you guys can do is you guys can subscribe or just follow the channel for updates. We will post the link in the description when it does become available. Okay. So again, this just happened, but we most definitely will keep you guys posted. Now, why didn't Navy Federal admit any wrongdoing? Here's my answer, okay? Most large banks or companies in general, they typically settle without admitting fault to avoid additional trials, risk, bad press, and of course, legal costs, even if they didn't think that they win or whatever they're thinking. They're just like, we're not going to try to stretch this out. Now, will Navy Federal change anything because of this lawsuit? Yes, they agreed to do this, okay? They agreed to send clearer denial letters. So if you submit a fraud claim, let's say, for example, you feel like there's fraud on your account, you submit it to Navy Federal, you're going to now be able to get a clear denial letter as to why they denied you. Will it still be automated? We won't know. Okay. Next is they're going to be providing supporting documentation to members when they are denying a claim. Okay. So they're pretty much just saying, hey, listen, we're going to show you why we're denying this. And then number 3, they're going to review their internal fraud claim processes. I don't know what that means, but we'll see what that means. So that doesn't mean that they're going to say yes to all the fraud claims, because you can't do that because people say things are fraud and it's really not. However, this just goes to show that a lot of times banks are just not doing any investigations, banks or credit unions for that matter. Okay. Now, some of you all may be thinking, you know what? I'm not with Navy Federal, but could this happen at other banks? The answer, in my opinion, is absolutely. Okay. Many banks and credit unions, they all handle fraud claims poorly. Okay. The lawsuit is a wake up call for institutions to follow federal rules. Otherwise, you can sue them. So here's how you can protect yourself. All right. What should you do if your fraud claim was denied in the past? The first thing you want to do is gather documentation. Okay. You need to show proof that whatever happened happened. So if your debit card was stolen, if you were out of town, if someone bought something, I remember when I was checking my account one time and I saw that there were actual purchases made in like Utah for dog food. Okay. I don't have a dog and I don't stay in Utah. So that was pretty simple. Okay. But you need to show documentation. Be ready for this because regardless of whatever changes they're making, you need to make sure that you can show that that was a fraudulent transaction. Okay. Then you can contact Navy Federal to re-review the claim or whoever your bank or credit union is. In this case, we're talking about Navy Federal. And then, of course, watch for class action updates, especially if you qualify. If you filled out any claim forms. Now, we're going to see how far back they're going to go. Based on my research, it's looking like they may go back to 2016. We will see. Okay. And then obviously, the more people that put in a claim, the less money's going to be available. Okay. So let's just say, for example, if there are 1,000 people, right? So we're going to do 1.1 million. Okay. That's 1,100,000 for those who don't know. All right. So if there's 1.1 million and we're going to divide that, let's say 1,000 people do this. Okay. That means each person will get $1,100. Okay. Now, if 1.1 million is now divided, let's say, for example, 10,000 people do this. So y'all better be on it. Then y'all can get $110. OK, so the question is, we don't know who's going to do this, but I'm just letting you know it's out there. And I highly doubt that Navy Federal is going to send out an email to everybody that had a fraudulent claim in like the last 5 years, even if the last year. A lot of people have fraudulent claims, but this is most definitely something we'll keep you guys posted on. And yes, depending on how many people participate, the smaller the checks are going to be. So we're going to see how this all plays out. Now, this is something I wanted to mention as well. What should you do if you're ever a victim of debit card fraud? Okay, the first thing you want to do is report it immediately. Okay, that's common sense, but the faster you do it, the better. As soon as you recognize it, this is why you should be looking at your bank accounts, if not every day, every other day for sure. Then documenting everything. There's no such thing as too much documentation. We're talking screenshots, locations. That's going to make things a lot easier as well. Keep all correspondence. If there's any, like I said, screenshots or phone calls that you've gotten, whatever that is, make sure that you keep that, especially between you and the bank or credit union. And then while the CFPB is still here, you can file a CFPB complaint if you are stonewalled, okay? Meaning the bank is not responding to you. They're giving you dry responses. A lot of them are using technology to respond in general, but you got to keep this in mind. Debit cards don't have the same protections as credit cards. Credit cards, they kind of take your word for it. Debit cards, you pretty much got to fight for it, okay? But here's one thing that this lawsuit does prove, okay? It proves that if you don't know your rights, banks or credit unions will walk all over you. Okay. Do they mean to do it? Is it intentional? I'll let you decide that. But one thing I do know for sure is if you're automatically doing something, some changes need to be made in behind the scenes. OK. And then, of course, I'll keep you updated, when the claim form is released. And if you are a Navy Federal member or former member, this affects you. OK. Don't miss your money. All right. So either way, guys, if you think this information was great, wait till you see the next video. I'll see you there.